me give all of our moms another big hand. And I'm going to be asking the questions today, so I've put them a little bit on the spot. So I'm going to ask the first question that is so very important, probably the most important question that I'm going to ask today. And I didn't tell them I was going to ask this, so we'll see how they do. What is your favorite football team?
Football team?
Yes. It's the most important. We need to know. Better say the right thing.
Dallas Cowboys.
Yes. How about you, Liz? How about Liz?
The Aggies. Whoop. Come on. Surely we got some Aggies in the house.
Well, whatever.
Well, I'm not a huge NFL fan, but I'm a huge Oregon Duck fan because that's where I grew up. So, yeah.
Okay, I missed the question, so I'm sorry.
My favorite football team.
Oh, I don't have time to watch football, so I'm so sorry. I wouldn't have to say the Dallas Cowboys.
Yes. That's always the answer to give. Just any question that's asked, Dallas Cowboys. That's a good answer. All right, so really though, I wanted to ask each of you really quickly, what's your favorite thing about being a mother?
Okay, I think one of my favorite things about being a mom is, especially now since my kids have gotten a little older, is just the relationship that I have, with my girls. And I'm not just mom anymore, but I'm friend.
Yes.
And so when they're little, it's hard to see that 20 years down the road, 25 years down the road. But now I just really see man, they're just my best friends. And so I'm excited.
Yeah. You seem a little emotional. Are you okay? Yeah. Is it because you have a daughter graduating? Probably. Yeah. She just breaks out in tears every now and again lately for some reason. I don't know why. So, Liz, how about you?
Well, and that's my thought is I hope none of us start crying up here, but I think just to piggyback on Janae, especially if you have one that's graduating or recently, the little things. Mm-hmm. It's all the little things. I think the big things are awesome, but when you think back on motherhood, it's all the little things, the unexpected things, the little fingers and toes, the pitter-patter of feet, and when they're older, the opening of the refrigerator, what's to eat, Mom, and those things are the things that
So that's a good remembrance for you. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, okay, good. I'm going to do that more often when I go to my mom's house. I'm just going to go open the refrigerator. How you feel, Mom? Trayla, how about you?
I think the little things, obviously, but for example, I love kisses and hugs, or walking into my daughter's classroom and her making eye contact with me and getting really excited to see me. Stuff like that right now when they're so little is my favorite.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very good. How about you, Gloria?
I consider such a privilege to be a mom because the Bible tells us that they are inherited from the Lord. And to see them grow up from babies to graduation.
You have a graduate
today,
too.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's very emotional. But my very favorite is the name when they call you Mom. Mom is the best name in the whole wide world for me.
I agree with that. So good. I'm getting emotional up here, y'all. So I'm going to ask this to Janae. I know that this question probably will evoke so many answers or thoughts, but if you could just be concise and pick one. Yeah. But seriously, if you were to give advice to other mothers, what advice would you give them? Well, if you were to say, this is what I think is so important about mothering, what would that be?
I think really work on your discernment, because your children growing up, you're going to have so many situations to where you need the Holy Spirit and discernment to be able to guide, direct, push away bad things that may be coming at them. You can't just sit idle by. And I think that is, to me, has been the most important thing. If I just felt like the Holy Spirit every once in a while would prod me about, this is not good for them. You need to be watching out for this. And I was able to direct them away from it.
Yep.
And I feel like, and I've had the hard conversations that goes along with having to make some of those decisions through the Holy Spirit, and to teach them through it that God really does guide and direct our lives. And we have to listen to the Holy Spirit, and it may not be something that's easy for them or that they like to hear, but we're going to follow God's voice. And I feel like that has been the most important thing.
So be engaged and be discerning.
And discerning.
You've talked a lot about you've been a teacher for, 15 years or something like that? 17 years. And we've talked about lately that we see a lot of parents that are just disengaged, just running, going, but they're not really engaged, or they don't really understand what's going on with their student. So
They're talking at them and not having enough conversations with them to really hear their heart. It's hard to know your kid's heart when you're not conversing with them. And it's hard to let the Holy Spirit speak to you about what's going on in them if you're not talking with them.
Yeah.
And so it's the most important thing.
Good.
It's our job to guard their heart.
Good. So quickly, just one last answer. How do you do that? What is the best atmosphere or culture to have that conversation, to get that conversation going? Because how many have ever asked your kids, how you doing? And they say, what? And how'd it go today? Yeah, and that's about it. And so how do we get them to talk? How do we listen? How do we talk in the appropriate way to our kids that is going to make a difference?
Well, there's lots of practical ways, but I think if we just live a life that's always pointing back to Jesus. So in our homes, we have an atmosphere that's not about ourselves, but it's always pointing to Jesus. In our car, what are we doing in our car? We're worshiping Jesus. It's always pointing back to Jesus. So it's easier to have those conversations and just to ask. When you have a relationship and influence with your kids, it's easy just to start conversations because they're used to it.
Yeah.
It's not something foreign. They've grown up with it. And so you can have those tough conversations because nothing is ever taboo that you can't talk about.
Right.
Does that answer the question?
Yeah. And when they're young, don't tell them, stop asking so many questions. Right? We learned it. She taught me that a long time ago. When your kids are really young and they just, well, why, what, yeah. You just want to go, hey, zip it. How many ever do that? And how many ever want to do that? How many want to do that with your spouse? Anyway, let's move on. But just think about what you're saying. My wife's probably wanting me to shut up right now. Think about what you're saying, though, to your kid. If you want them to come and talk to you later, but you're constantly saying, don't ask me questions, right? So just think about it. It's good. Liz, let's see. This will be a good question. Everybody, if you're taking notes, you should really take notes on this because this will be great. Because we're not going to just learn from Liz now, but we're going to learn from people Liz has learned from. What's the best advice you ever received about mothering?
I honestly don't know, and can I be real? I mean, I don't know that anybody has ever just really given me one single piece of advice about being a mom. I think I would say that it was examples more than anything set for me. So no one really just came to me and said, this is what this looks like. I was blessed by a mom that is amazing, like makes it look really easy and does it all with grace and love. And so the best advice was just her example to me.
What were some of the examples that stood out to you that really you took? You know that you mother a certain way because of what you saw in her.
I know I want to be more like her, and she just always, our home was always peaceful and joy-filled. And that doesn't mean that we didn't have strife or issues. But if we did, I didn't know about it. And it wasn't because it was hidden. It was just her. She just has this quality of peace about her. Even in the midst of holidays, I have to check myself because I'm running around like a mad woman, maybe trying to accomplish something. And she always just made it look so easy. And always there for us, loved us completely no matter what. Even when we made mistakes, she was always there. And so just an amazing mom.
Good. That's good. That's good. I want to encourage you. I just feel led to say this real quick. Everybody's story is not that. Okay? Everybody's story is not, my mother was a great example to me. A lot of us have that story, but a lot of us don't. And this is what is so powerful about the church. Because there are moms in this house, spiritual moms, that are more than willing to relate to you and connect to you and to love on you and to walk you through and to be that for you. So that's a great, a lot of things that we learn in life are not taught. Some of them are caught. And that's exactly, I think, a lot of parenting is caught. And so, great answer. Okay, let's go to this side. Let's see. Trayla, let me just say something about Trayla before we get started. This girl, she's gone through our School of Ministry this last semester, and we did communication presentations, get up and do your presentation the other night, and I'm telling you, she killed it. She's got a gift, and we're believing God's going to cultivate that gift over the years and really use her in that way. So now, yeah, go ahead. Now that you have that pressure.
Yeah, thanks.
Sincerely, what would you say to all of us as a mom? What would you say to all of us about being a follower of Jesus?
I would say that it's not always easy. It's hard. And people, I think from the outside looking in, see Christians as, we pretend to have this great life. And it's easy and we're just happy all the time. And I would say it's not easy. It's really hard, but we're not alone. We have each other, and I think that's why the church is so important. But not only that, since it's Mother's Day, all the moms that I have around me are really important in the church as well. And we have Jesus guiding us, and that's what makes it easier. But it's not something, that comes easy. It's work. I think being a follower of Christ is work, and I think it's the best work. So, yeah.
That's good. That's a good answer.
Thank you.
So how do you see that playing out in your family, in your friendships, in your relationships? How do you see, a lot of times we struggle with that. A lot of times people compartmentalize. I've got this part of my life and this part of my life and that part of my life and that part of my life. And so I've got my Jesus part, my career part, my family part, all this. What would you say to that? How does it play out? How does your relationship or following Jesus play out in your life?
I think you have to be really careful about who you surround yourself with. But also there's going to be people you want to be around who don't know Jesus. So you just need to not be scared to be who you are and, be a believer. And like I said in my School of Ministry, build relationships with other people so that you're able to, pour Jesus into them, even without them knowing, just speaking over them and praying with them. And have your friends pray for you. I think that's also really important to have friends that pray. I know in our women's ministry group, we have prayer partners every month, and that's awesome. So I think how you surround yourself is really important, but also just being true to who you are as a Christian and not hiding it from other people, even if they may not agree with you.
Very good. Yeah. Very good. Yeah, go ahead. If you feel like clapping, go ahead. It ain't gonna make nobody feel bad if you clap for them, right? So So that leads us to the next question, Gloria. In what ways do you think we as Christians can most effectively reach our world with the gospel?
I would say that Jesus tells us to start with Judea, Samaria, and to the end of the world. That speaks to me that in our own atmosphere, in our work, and trying to minister to people around me, I find the littlest opportunity to talk to people about Jesus. I remember one time, and particularly, I have a customer, and we were real good friends, and she started telling me things about another Christian person, and she told me she was fanatic. And then she pushed the wrong button for her, and I started telling her all about. See, she said, I didn't know you were so fanatic. And I say, I'm not offended that you call me fanatic. I'm offended if you don't call me fanatic.
Yeah.
Because I am fanatic very much of the Lord, and I love Him passionately, and I want everybody to know. And if we plant the seed, I think we tell these people, and when people got saved, other people tell others saved. So you can only do in your surrounders, but you planted a seed.
Right. So good. So it's okay. Matter of fact, I think what you're saying is we should absolutely be wanting everyone around us to know we follow Jesus.
Yes, amen.
Come on, guys, everyone. We should want everyone to know. So good. You know, both of you said something very interesting, very relational, making relationships with people. You know, you had a relationship with that lady, so you could speak into her life that way. So, you know, we live in a world right now where when people don't agree, it's as if we hate each other, or that's what's being told to us. You know that's not really true, right? That there are a lot of people out there still you can have a conversation with, and they don't have to be your enemy after the conversation if you don't agree. Come on, somebody.
That's true.
We still can love people and have relationships. Come on, you know good and well you don't always agree with the people in your family, but you still live in your house. You know what I'm saying? Okay, anyway, I'll move on. Okay, so... this is going to be a really good one. I don't even know who to give this to, but I think it'll be really good. Let me think about it. I almost want to flip a coin. I'm going to give it to Janae. What encouragement would you give to dads? Not particularly this one, but all others in the room. Yes, me too. What encouragement, advice, counsel would you give to dads right now?
It all just goes back to relationship. I think dads sometimes will think that the mom can, because they're more nurturing, that the mom can have a better relationship and talking relationship with their child, but that's just really not true. And especially dads with daughters. Your daughters need to hear from the dad. Because we teach you guys to start praying for their spouse now when they're young. You just start believing and praying for their future spouse that's to come. And the only way a daughter knows what spouse they need to be looking for is because if they're having good conversations with their dad. Mm-hmm. And I think, I don't have boys, but I'm assuming this is right. Maybe Liz can speak to this about dads and boys. But that we have a crisis in our nation about what's it look like to be a true follower, man of Christ. Mm-hmm. And I just feel like it's so important for dads to speak into the lives of their sons, to show them what it looks like, how it behaves, how it talks. How do you act in your home? What should you be watching? What should you not be watching? I mean, you've got to start having such relationship and intimate conversations with our kids, because other students in school, they're having those conversations with your kids, that you need to be having that relationship and influence in their life before anybody else.
And don't kid yourself, other adults are having that conversation with your kids.
That's right.
And it's not just about sexual conversations or sexual things, but it's just about life in general. Right. My girls, they may not want a person who's just like me. They're probably tired of me by the time they get done with me. Moving out of my house, you're never done with me, never. And but let me just say something. They know how they should be treated because of the way I treated them, right? So you should always keep that in mind. That's good, Janae. Good advice. Why don't you, Liz? Why don't you speak to that for boys? Yeah, fathers with boys.
Well, I would just tag along again, and I would say, men, to encourage you guys that no matter how long you've been walking with the Lord, like you may think, I can't be the spiritual leader of my house. I don't know enough. I haven't been walking with the Lord long enough. I don't know how to do that. And I would just say that your kids need to see you not perfect, not have it all together, but seeking Him, like truly seeking Him, and to be a part of learning together, you know. And we're going to get it wrong. You're going to get it wrong. But the Lord has placed you, He's given you those specific children to speak into their lives and to live a godly example to. And you can do it. Like, you can do it.
Yes.
So.
Yeah, when you get it wrong, that's not the end of anything.
No.
So don't act like, oh, my kids aren't going to respond to me now because I got it wrong. No, just apologize. Everybody say that after me. Men, only men in the room say, apologize. Some of us couldn't even say it. We think sometimes that's showing weakness to our kids and our parenting if we apologize. Absolutely not. It's the strongest thing you could do to your kids to say, I was wrong, I did that wrong, I'm sorry, let me correct that, right?
Or even like if what's in the past is in the past.
Right.
Like, so maybe you didn't get it all right.
Yeah.
You know, but then when you really started seeking the Lord, like, don't let guilt or shame or, man, I wished I would have done it this way.
Yeah.
Just start loving the Lord, and it's
Right.
like contagious.
Absolutely. That's good. That's a good word. So Trayla, although we have only really young women on this panel, you're the youngest. So, what's your greatest concern about the future?
I think that my greatest concern would be that my children look for their worth in the wrong places. So I grew up with social media like coming into the picture later, like right at the end of high school. So I really had social media for a little bit, and it's just addicting, even to us sometimes. You know, we're on it and we're scrolling mindlessly through Facebook. I'm just worried that they'll try and find their worth in other people and what other people think of them instead of in Jesus. And I think that would be my biggest concern.
That's a great concern. Why does that concern you so much?
Because it doesn't matter what everyone else thinks, you know, and there's a lot of pressure from other people, you know, and I don't want it to shape their personality or who they think they are or who they think they should be. So, yeah.
And if you think that's not possible, studies show, psychologists say, that kids develop their personal identity when they spend time by themselves, working through, processing, talking to themselves. Think this is how they develop their values, this is how they develop. And so I was doing a leadership thing not long ago with some high schoolers, and I said, when are you by yourself? And they all said, we're never by ourselves. And except at night, right before we go to bed. And I said, well, when you go to bed at night, do you take this with you? Yes. So the truth is, they take 1,000 or more friends with them into their room. They're never alone. So the idea of their personality, their development, all of that being shaped by social media and the opinions of others, what we're ended up happening is we're having kids that are not coming up with a personal identity, but a collective identity, which is a problem when it comes to things like group speak and group think. And it's all okay. We want to be a team. We want to be on the same team. We want to know what our responsibility is to contribute to society. What we don't want is people who never can think for themselves or work out or be critical thinkers, or people who can work out problems or solve issues or know who they are in Christ. Yeah. Are you with me? Yeah. I thought we were asking women questions. We are. But I had to say that. Yeah. But it is a true concern. So what are you doing about it?
Well, we're working on limiting screen time, which is even hard with the little ones, because sometimes it's just easier to be like, here's an iPad, go do this so I can
Yeah.
do the dishes.
So screen time is all.
Is-
Limiting screen time is also
Yes,
called
and-
scream time, right? Yeah. Screaming.
Yes, you're
Yes,
right.
yes.
You're right. But they're little, so we don't have phones with our kids yet.
Oh, good.
You know, so
Yeah.
I don't have
Yeah.
that yet.
Don't do it.
They got to get a job and buy their
Yes.
own phone.
Come on, somebody. Come on. My kid's 5. They don't have a phone. My God. My God, are you serious? We're giving our kids phones so early, aren't we?
Yeah.
Man, we're putting the whole world in their hands before they even have a chance to know how they should use it.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's move on. So I think that's a great answer, Trayla, and I think you've probably just spoken a concern that we all have. And it's not the concern with social media as it is, but it's the concern with what it's doing. Right, absolutely. Good. So our job is to fix it. If we don't want it to be bad, we fix it, right? Let's see. Gloria, this is a great question for you, just because I know you. How important is family to you, and in what ways is it important to you?
My family is the most important thing in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And the ways why is because that's the only fruits that I'm going to get personally of all the investments that I make around the world.
Mm-hmm.
The Bible tells us what good it will be for a man if he win the whole world and lost his own soul.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, my family is a gift.
Mm.
So that's my biggest investment, and that's my heart. I have my heart in it, and that it should be for all of us. As your children growing up, my advice to you guys is spend time with them, because they grow up so fast, and you don't want to have regrets. Invest all the best time of your life. Money, it's not as important. Gifts are important, but that's not the most important. Pour yourself into your children, because what you put in them, that's how you're going to see them as grow up as an adults. It come back to you. It's amazing how I see my kids repeat to them over and over, teach them or instruct them practical things in life. And finally, when you see that they acting like you, my daughter was saying, "Mom, I know this is scary, but I'm acting like you." And it's a compliment, she said it, because it was a good thing.
Yeah.
Not that I'm perfect by any meaning or anything, but she said it because she was doing something good. And that would be my best.
So good, so good. Family's important, and you've all talked about time and relationship. Janae, what does that look like when you say spend time with your kids? We hear things about quantity time, we hear things about quality time, but what is the most effective and impacting way to spend time with your kids?
We have some moms in the room that work, and we have some moms in the room that don't work, and we have some moms, their kids have grown up. Any one of those do not make you a good mom or a bad mom.
Right.
And sometimes I think we get the stereotype that if I'm not home if I'm working, I'm not a good mom. But the truth is, it's about when you're with them, are you present? So I don't know if it's always about a quantity of time, but when you're with them, are you mentally present and you're not on your phone all the time and they're trying to get your attention? Or are you talking with them, teaching them how to cook? What are you doing with them that you're imparting to them? So are you present mentally, physically, spiritually? That's what I think is the most important.
Yeah.
I've worked most of my kids' lives. I feel like we have a pretty deep relationship. I haven't always been present. And that is my one regret. I think at times when I look back, because sometimes I felt like I was giving my best self to my job and not my best self when I got home. And so those are the things that I've had to tweak in my own life. And it's hard when you're tired.
Yeah.
But you just have to focus and remind yourself of what's the most important thing. The most important thing is the responsibility that Jesus gave me when he gave me those two, because I wasn't supposed to have kids.
Yeah.
And he gave me the responsibility of them. So what's most important? They're most important.
Right.
And I've got to get myself under control.
Right.
So that has been my struggle, spending time and being present. And I didn't even, when they were young, I didn't even have cell phones then, really. They were just little Nokias.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But I still struggled with it. I can imagine
Right.
now with young children how hard and difficult that is, because you're tired. You just want to just veg, and you can't. Not in this world.
I have a kind of a difficult question for you, just to top on top of that, and anybody can answer this really, but is supporting your kids, hold on to your seats, in their activities the same as spending quality time with them?
It depends.
Okay.
So activities are not bad.
Nope.
Activities are only bad when you let them rule you.
Right.
And so it depends how present you are when you're with them, even if it's in the car. What are you doing I said this a minute, what are you doing in the car? Are you letting them read to you? You know, I hear kids all the time, I have this activity, that activity, I don't have time to read. Okay, well, on the way in the car, do you have time to read in the car? See, I think we do not take the moments that we have and use them wisely. And so I don't think activity is bad unless it's overrunning your family and overrunning your life. And it's okay to say no, and it's okay to limit them to only so many activities. But my friend is doing this, and my friend is doing that, and I won't make it here if I don't do this, 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 and this. You know what? God is in control. If he wants you to play whatever it is farther in life, he's going to give you the ability, the talent. He's going to multiply your efforts. We're going to do what we need to do. We're going to focus on God. We're going to focus on our family. We're going to focus on your talent. But it's not going to rule who we are as people. And so anytime that becomes the priority, then God is not.
Right. I think a lot of times, and
But it's not bad.
And we've been guilty of this ourselves. A lot of times we think that being around our kids is being with our kids. And it's not the same thing. And I think it's just like you said. And it's not just about their activities. It's about our activities as well. Because it's very easy for me as a pastor to be in the zone pastoring, but then not be in the zone with my kids. Very easy, because my mind can be somewhere else. My mind can be doing something else. I can just come out, I'm tired, I'm weary, and then I'm here trying to deal with my kids, and my mind is anywhere but them. And you've all probably heard the story about the man who comes into his house, and before he goes in, he goes and touches the leaves of the trees, and another person asks him, what are you doing? And he said, I'm leaving all my work out here. And he just consciously was doing that to say to himself, they don't need all that. I'm going in there to be with them. And I think when we think about our time with our kids, our world is very different right now, and there's a lot of things going on. But let's make sure that in the doing of all that we're doing, we are present in that. Great word, great thought. Last question. Let me see. Yeah, we got 11. Whoever answers this has got 8 seconds. Okay, so how important is the church to you and your family? I'll let each one of you take just a moment to answer that question. How important is the church to you and your family? We know it's important to you. You can pass it.
Oh, I think it's been just the greatest support that we've ever had as young couples, with other young couples, raising your children and just going through, just trying to make it through the day. You know, when you're at home with the littles or working and have littles, community is everything. So it's been vital in our parenting.
So small groups are important?
So small groups are important. So join a small group
Commercials.
today.
Commercials. Trayla, how about you?
I think it's really important. Just having a community, especially as a young mom right now, like, you know, sometimes during the day you feel like everything's going crazy and your kids are so small and am I doing everything right? And just having other moms who are experiencing the same thing, or dads or families that you can talk to about the silly things your kids are doing. Is this normal? You know, it's helpful to have that community.
Right.
And also set an example for your kids of
Right.
what is a good community and how to serve
Right.
other people as well.
So have there been ways that the church has come alongside you? And by the church, I mean the people of the church, the relationship, the community that have come alongside you in times of just being a mom that have helped you?
I think so. After I had Levi, I went through like a really short thing with postpartum depression, and even just getting to church and like being surrounded by people who have experienced this or who are just uplifting is really helpful and encouraging. Even though I didn't want to like get out of the house, that was really helpful to me to have a place. Even with my volunteer situations, like I had to be there whether I wanted to or not, and it was helpful. It, you know, and I had uplifting people always around me and friends. I make so many friends in the church, constantly making new friends. So
Good.
yeah.
Awesome. Gloria, how about you? How important is the church to your
Church is
family?
very, very important for me and my family. We love to be in church. We like the fellowship with others. We like to know a lot of great people that encourage, and just by seeing them, and each one has to inspiration in my life, and to come and listen to our pastor to preach, and we learn
It's always
a whole
good to
lot.
do that, yeah.
And everything, the church is very important. If occasionally we cannot go for any particular reason that is come alone, we feel like the week is long.
Yeah.
So it is very, very important.
Good. Let's give all these moms a really big hand. What great advice. Come on, stand to your feet and give them a real round of appreciation. What great advice. And love you so much. Thank you so much. You guys can be seated. Thank you.